My mom's only crime was having a small shed in our backyard. A shed that was legal, permitted, and had been there for years. But when a smug new neighbor tried to get her fined, thinking he could intimidate us, I found something about his property. 2 weeks later, his $40,000 dream pool was nothing but a hole in the ground. And now he gets to stare at our perfectly legal shed every single day. If you've ever had that one petty neighbor who thinks they can push people around, you'll love this story. Hit subscribe, smash that like button, and tell me in the comments about the worst neighbor you've ever dealt with. Today's story isn't just revenge, just poetic justice at its finest. I live with my mom. She's the kind of woman people describe as quiet strength. She keeps to herself, never bothers anyone, never makes noise, never causes problems. The kind of neighbor you'd be lucky to have. Our backyard is her happy place. There's a little vegetable garden, some flowers, and tucked into the corner. Small wooden shed. It's nothing fancy, just a storage place for tools, a lawnmower, a few odds and ends. Here's the important part. The shed has been there for years. It's fully permitted, inspected, and completely legal. It's not some makeshift shack. It's part of our home's landscape. Enter the villain of our story. A few months ago, a new neighbor moved in. Let's call him Greg. From the first week, Greg carried himself with this smugness like he was somehow better than everyone else on the block. New car, big talk, always loud. The kind of guy who acted like the whole neighborhood was his personal kingdom. One afternoon, we saw him standing on his deck, just staring at our backyard. Not waving, not smiling, just glaring. The next week, a letter came from the city. Someone had reported us for having an illegal shed. At first, my mom panicked. She's not the type to break rules. I'll never forget the look on her face, this mix of worry and shame, like she'd done something wrong when she absolutely hadn't. She kept wringing her hands, pacing the kitchen. I pulled the permit folder out of her filing cabinet and flipped through it. Sure enough, stamped, signed, official. The shed was fine. When the inspector came, it was almost laughable. He glanced at the shed, saw the papers, and basically said, "Yep, everything checks out." He left without another word. But here's where things got under my skin. Later that day, I saw Greg outside. He had this smug little smirk on his face. He looked right at me and said, "Just keeping the neighborhood up to code." That smugness lit a fire in me. My mom had done nothing wrong. She keeps her yard neat, quiet, beautiful. And here was this guy trying to bully her, embarrass her, stress her out for what? For a shed? That's when I decided, if he wanted to play this game, fine. I'd play. But I was going to play smarter. I started digging. Not literally, though. Funny enough, the story does end with a lot of dirt. I started digging into him, his property, his permits, his perfect backyard. That's when I noticed something. Greg had a brand new in-ground pool installed. It looked fancy. You could tell he was proud of it. He had people over barbecues, showing it off. But something about it looked off. I pulled up the city's property maps online, comparing measurements, property lines, and utility easements. And then it hit me like a thunderbolt. His pool was way too close to the property line. Worse, it was sitting right on top of a utility easement. For anyone who doesn't know, a utility easement is basically land where the city has the right to access underground utilities, water, gas, electricity. You're not supposed to build permanent structures over it. Pools especially. So not only was the pool off, it was flat out illegal. I took photos from different angles, screenshotted the property maps, quoted the exact city code he was violating. I made the report airtight. And then I submitted it to the city. Waiting those 2 weeks felt like an eternity. My mom didn't even know what I'd done yet. But when the letter finally came for him, not for us, I couldn't hold back my grin. The city had ordered Greg to either relocate the pool, which was physically impossible, or fill it in completely. $40,000. That was the estimate of what his pool had cost him, and now it was worthless. 2 months old, sparkling, blue, and suddenly nothing more than a massive liability. I watched from our kitchen window the day the contractors came. His beautiful pool was drained, jackhammers roaring, concrete torn apart, A huge dump truck filled with dirt backed into his driveway, pouring load after load into the hole. Greg stood there, arms crossed, jaw clenched, watching $40,000 literally disappear into the ground. And here's the kicker. Every time he steps into his backyard now, what does he see? Our shed. Our completely legal, permitted shed, standing tall in the corner like a trophy. Meanwhile, where his pride and joy used to be, there's just a patch of uneven dirt, a scar on the land. Sleeps better now. No more stress, no more pacing. Sometimes she even chuckles when she looks out the window, sipping her tea. And me? Let's just say that was the sweetest glass of lemonade I've ever tasted sitting by our little shed. Looking out over the neighborhood, knowing that sometimes karma needs a little push. The best part wasn't the $40,000 hole. It wasn't even the crushed look on Greg's face as the pool disappeared. It was the silence. The man who once strutted around, smirking, throwing his weight around the neighborhood. He avoids eye contact now. No more smug remarks. No more glares. Just silence. The psychological shift was incredible. He went from self-appointed neighborhood cop to the guy everyone whispers about. That's the one who had to fill in his pool. And my mom, she got her peace back. That mattered most to me. She can sit in her garden, tend her flowers, and look at her shed without fear, without shame, without a single care in the world about what anyone thinks. Because justice was served. Here's the thing. Pettiness often comes from insecurity. Greg thought he could elevate himself by tearing others down. But in the end, he lost the very thing that made him proud. Well, because he couldn't leave well enough alone. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't loud. It's quiet, legal, and permanent. So what do you think? Did Greg get what he deserved, or was it too harsh? Let me know in the comments. Again, if you've ever had a nightmare neighbor, share your story. I'd love to hear it. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a tale of revenge this sweet.